What is up guys, Wraec here with a new video, and today with a video about mutated fungus G-Star. I actually experimented with this little guy a little bit, and I wanted to let you guys know some things about him, some things that I found during testing, some experiments that I did. Wanted to just give you a little look at it because it's quite fancy. We're going to do a little bit of PvE, mainly Flame Shrine, and then we are going to go into PvP because I made a team with him that I wanted to show to you guys. Not super effective, but it was a little bit fun, and I saw some people attack me just out of curiosity for what I had built there. So 174 million attack right here. We have pretty insane copy, SS tier attack, SS tier speed, skill damage, holy damage, giant killer, hunter's focus. A little bit of an upgrade to the copy we had before with the 7700 attack, also an S tier copy by the way. And I put the Star Soul Nova Sacred Flame on him because that is the burn Star Soul. Check out my guide if you have no idea about this. Made a full guide on Star Souls. And with that, I first went into Flame Shrine. Why did I do this? Well, for me, Mutated Fungus G-Star was always like a little bit the Transcendence version of Ithaka, in a sense. Because we have two heroes here that inflict absolutely massive damage over time effects with their skills. For G-Star, the insane thing, by the way, if you don't know this, for Ithaka, it was always that Ithaka had the strongest damage over time effects in the game. That was the time where we still had like mostly 5 heroes, and then Ithaka basically broke PvE because we got a poison effect or a bleed effect that wasn't based on our attack. It wasn't like 300% of attack, it was 50% of the damage we dealt. So we could buff our damage by holy damage, by endless cane, by anything, and that would result in higher damage over time effects. And then we could replicate that with Delasium. And in a sense, this was like the best strategy for PvE for a long time. This did the best damage against Flame Shrine. Then we got like a little bit more into LFA, and I kind of wanted to see a revival of that with Mutated Fungus G-Star that we never really got. For the one reason that LFA kind of outperforms him in the team, because LFA is just that OP against bosses. And on the other hand, the problem was that they introduced Purify to most bosses in the game, and that included damage over time Purify, and most of those bosses Purify 3 effects at the same time. So this will often hit your damage over time stacks and not remove one of them, but the entire stack. So if you have 600 poison effects on the enemy, this will remove them all. And we can take a little bit of a look at that because I have a team in Flame Shrine that we can try out. It's a little bit reminiscent of the old times where we fought with Ithaka. I put 2 Delasiums in there just because I wanted to see if we can't make this multiply a little bit, if we can't really get around this Purify, and you will see how this works in a second. We have to skip the loading time because if you've never seen such a fight, then for the one hand I would definitely recommend you check out my channel, the main channel, the Wraec channel, where we at the moment only do AFK journey content. We did a ton of Ithaka content in the past. Definitely check those Ithaka videos because those are very cool. If you have a ton of damage over time effects in the game, it will lag. 2 Delasiums is an invitation for lag. So what then happens is you get super long loading times usually on your fights. And I will skip that now for you. Okay, that loading time was about 1 minute long, which is a bit crazy. I'm going to speed this up a little bit because the fight itself is also going to lag, is also going to take very long. And yeah. In Flame Shrine, we have the problem with the Purify. We will see a lot of effects getting purified. On the other hand, the next problem we have is, well, they gave those enemies energy drain. And MFG is a hero that really, really wants a full energy feed to do his ult and to make his ult stronger. He needs many, many rounds to get his ult to the top level. And if you don't get like a full energy feed necessarily, it is a bit of a problem. It is a bit of a problem because he will struggle to get like to his highest point of damage. And with the energy drain, that is really hard to do. I tried a little bit to experiment with Demon Belts, but Demon Belts actually felt worse. And what I then ended up doing is going for mirrors. Mirrors aren't really a full energy feed, but the good thing is you get hit, your energy gets drained, and many of heroes will already have like 0 energy after they did an ult. And then your mirror just feeds you a ton of energy. So you end up with a ton of energy on your heroes if you go with mirror. It's a little bit easier to do the energy feed that way. The problem still ends up being, well, if they purify our 36 stacks of burn here, for example, they will purify all 36 stacks of burn at the same time. And then those are just gone. And then we can't multiply them. And if we can't multiply super huge stacks of damage over time effects, then damage over time has no chance to work. And we'll see how bad the situation is at the end when we take a look at the damage numbers of those Delasiums, because while they certainly increase our lag, I have to say in most situations, unless we get like super good RNG, they are sadly rather pointless. I mean, this round was crazy good because we saw the burn effect go here. It was already on the bottom one if you scroll like a second back, but it's not every single turn. Also, now we have a little bit of a problem here because we have so many debuffs on those enemies that I probably would have to design the team a little bit around not debuffing the enemy that much. And making it easier for our Delasium to hit those damage over time stacks. But at the same time, if we don't inflict many different debuffs on the enemy, then their Purify has it more easy to purify our stacks of damage over time, of course. So that is another problem in itself. On the other hand, I have to say MFG in general, like with the damage per hit from his attacks, is quite insane. Even a basic attack is a ton of damage, and we are going to see that a little bit more in PvP after this fight, because when he hits an enemy, it's an absolute, like with a truck, it's insane. It can easily take out units even when they have like high defenses, some damage over time on there, but it often feels like the hit is really the more important thing. Doesn't really matter if it's a basic or an active skill. If you can get such an active going, or he does like 5-6 hits, which would require you to do multiple actives before, then he's an absolute monster and will take out any PvP team, but usually you don't get to that point. You get like a basic and an active skill in the current PvP scene, where you have like no very long fights. We would need more of a sustain meta, I guess, to really get to the point where he would really be insane. More of a sustain meta if we had super high defenses and then going with a bit of damage over time. That would probably be better for him than what we currently have right here. Because just getting like a basic and an active, yeah, he does huge damage with those hits, but it's far from his max potential. It's far from the use that you really want from him. And then you are usually better off taking other damage over time heroes. We had a lot of success in PvP with Sun Devourer Eos, and I think that is like a hero that has a lot more potential there than him. Nonetheless, he's quite fun, and I really like him, so that is why I wanted to make this work. But I will switch away from him now. I'll be honest, I will switch away from him now. I need my LFA back, kind of need to do some huge damage numbers, and I need a PvP team where every single hero can pull his weight, and I just feel like you get too little from him. You get too little burst. You just don't have a meta unit here. If you would put it on a tier list, then and you had your S tier, your A tier, and your B tier, C tier, D tier, whatever, I'd probably say he's like B tier. B tier overall, like not a super great unit. Kind of rare on top of that, which is another issue, by the way. And I maybe we'll have used this last 2 rounds, which are probably going to take forever, for this topic. Those older heroes are now rare. Bloody hell. Like, if you go to the auction house right now, you see all the DTVs, you see all the LFAs, you see some other common heroes, maybe one less common hero in there. But if you want to have, I don't know, a G-Star, if you want to have an LDA, an SFX at S tier or above, you will struggle. And this is really like a little bit of the result of the age politic to just make it harder for free-to-play to even engage in the auction house and to even give them the opportunity to summon there. And while that, of course, did farmers often provided like some of those rarer copies. And this is kind of really sad, because now when I look for like an older hero, an older copy, an SFX, an LDA, I wanted a lot of Sparkles Yom Tomb now. You just don't get that. It kind of feels to me like Gala will soon change the Awakening session, that people won't even summon for the new hero. We got a 90 plus 15, which isn't too great, but we'll go for the older ones. Because those are rarer, like you just don't see an LDA anymore. If you want an LDA now, you kind of have to do session to summon an LDA, which feels stupid considering last time it was sold, it was one of the cheapest heroes. So, this time we actually had a pretty good run with the Delasiums. 1.8 E plus 15 there, 7.5 E plus 14, so we did like 2.5 E plus 15 with them. And this is not too common. We can just like skip another fight maybe? The last fight that we have, or we can't really skip. But I can make it like a skip. With magic. There we go. Actually better than our last hit, 1.3 plus 16. My best hit with this team today. Yeah, and there we can see 90 plus 14, 80 plus 14. If you don't get like the right RNG where one dot stack can stack up on an enemy for a sufficient amount of time, the Delasium replication is sadly useless. And usually if you remember the old damage numbers we got with Ithaca, the Delasium damage was a substantial part of our damage. So that was like really a thing. Now we kind of lose out on that damage, but even if we had it, I mean, even if we had like the same damage 3 times here, that would still be not at the level of an LFA. And it kind of plays into the cards of MFG here that we have to do basic attacks because we have this energy drain. Because it is actually, his TT skill is based on doing basic attacks. When as basic attacks successfully hits a target, he activates his transition power. So we actually get to trigger that here. Still, nonetheless, bit worthless. Bit worthless overall. And just by far not the best team you can run in there. And I mean, with our hits today, we are nowhere close. If we ran an LFA team, that would actually be a lot better. So, PvP. Let's talk a little bit about that. What did I do in PvP? SQH test would be the team. It looks kind of like this. We are running IHP Revive Lingering Melody of Universe, which is just like with Time Plume, the normal strategy you would go for. Just letting this thing sacrifice itself, absolutely nuking the enemy team. I didn't quite max this team out. It is actually quite annoying to get all of the heroes at D15. I don't think you need it on Melissa, and I don't think you need it on... which is kind of cool, by the way. We have Norton Hake in here. It would have been better because we would have taken less damage, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Strategy of the team is just like get Perceptual Disorder on the damage dealers of the enemy, get a little bit of damage over time going, nuke the enemy to hell with IHP, and then clean up the rest with MFG. This is like the plan, and I kind of took this to Sword Edge Arena, and as long as the enemy isn't like super strong, it tends to work. And all my enemies have 0 power, so we have an interesting time. No, I have no idea. Yeah, so like who do we attack? Can attack this guy. I have no idea who that is. 14 billion is probably absolutely going to destroy me. Yeah, that is like already the thing. Against something like this, my team is actually probably going to lose. So we are going to take a look at this. It doesn't really... I tried to make it tanky. It isn't. It isn't. It just isn't. It is so tough to make a team tanky today that it almost feels like it's impossible. It is really all burst by now. You put crowns on your heroes, and I mean, like, if this was a stronger TBB, that could have already taken some of our heroes into Unbending Will. And we already have like a good thing going here with our Norton Hake. The Norton Hake shield actually already helps a ton, but you can see like our Stark Storms Young here at half-life. We're still, okay, that was an LFA hit. LFA, it's kind of insane. But we're still nearly losing a hero here. With the recovery, we have all the tankiness that we could get. And I mean, like, if we had a few more turns, it probably would work out a lot more. But this is already a ton more damage that you want to take in a sustain team. And if we face a stronger enemy, they will just straight up punch through. But you can already see, like, the single target damage that we get from MFG is absolutely bonkers. Absolute madness there. And in the fight, you don't even notice how much damage that really is. We can buy a few more fights, I reckon. Yeah, I can buy 3 more. Let's see if we can attack somebody else. We got 150 there. Wraec. Ooh, Red Snapper. I mean, we are completely in the wrong for attacking Red Snapper here, because that is like pointless. I just want to check out the copies. SSS tier SQH. Crazy. I don't want to fight an IHP. Guys, I don't want to fight an IHP. I'm scared. I'll have to see. Too many debuffs and we can't really work with that. yeah, the thing is, if you fight like a super bursty enemy team, you will notice that sustain is not really a thing. If you fight like IHPs in the enemy team, then, well, your burst team will just die in the same way. And look at that. Do you see that? Oh, crazy. Your sustain team will die as if it wasn't even a sustain team. So there is no point in really running a sustain team if it dies as fast as any burst team. And IHP hits your hero straight into unbending will. So yeah, that's the problem with this. So we're already losing out on heroes even before we can even attack, which is absolutely crazy, and kind of shows you how stupid that really is, how stupid IHP is. I mean, we have heroes with crowns, and it's pointless to have heroes with crowns. Why would you have heroes with crowns? It doesn't even matter to have heroes with crowns. And if you make them faster, it doesn't even help. So in this team, I really learned the hard way that you go burst or you go bust. Like, it is pointless to do anything else at the moment. If you don't go like super burst, it just won't be a win. We can try against this guy maybe, but this is the same problem as before. And this is the same problem as before. And he was running super burst. By the way, this was the reason why we can't attack it. We were obviously in an advantage in terms of copies. The reason we couldn't attack was he was running Snow Hearts, the Deific Snow Hearts. And this ends up with us just being a whole lot slower. And him with IHP and mark damage from his Alikita, he can just ignore our defenses, and this ends up being so devastating that we can actually take a very harsh loss here. So, well, I think you can build a team without IHP. She at the same time blocks you from building anything sustainy. And I wanted to build something sustainy because in the best case, you give your MFG a chance to like work that. And I thought, okay, man, we have Norton Hake there. We have Norton Hake. Maybe we can do something with that. Maybe we can get like our shields going. Maybe we can do something cool there. And turns out it's just like, no, just doesn't work out. It just doesn't work out, and it is quite sad. It is quite sad. So, yeah, I should easily win against teams like this. And with the current strategy, sadly, that is not the case. Okay, we got hit again. Maybe, I don't know. Yes, like the HHA still. Is IHP's at least stunned? No. Okay, no. Yeah, and that is like the problem. IHP completely demolishing us. We can deal as much damage as we want. This damage you didn't even see. This damage it existed somewhere, but it is so pointless. You thought, if you watch this fight again, and I'm the same, you thought that this IHP did more damage than our MFG. And still it says like 228 billion. And did he do anything in this fight? It didn't feel like it. So really that is the problem with like doing an MFG team. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And at the end, I kind of have to take the L here and have to say, well, I can't make this guy work with what is currently on the table. And what is currently on the table is all bosses have damage over time purify, and he's too slow for PvP. And that is just what I want to take. And the next team that we are going to build and that we're going to take a look at will be Super Burst. It will just be Super Burst. And as bursty as you can probably build it, we're going to go Snow Hearts, we're going to go full into the meta, and just going to burst every single enemy down. And that is just going to be the most effective way. So, I hope you enjoyed this little video about MFG. Seeing some gameplay of him has become kind of rare, and with an SST, I mean, it's kind of fun. What do you want to see next? Is there any hero that you care for? I have to say one hero that I took a look at and thought for a second I want to do something on. It's kind of Luna, because I don't see anything about her anymore. Just, this is such a dead on release hero. I think used in like 3 PvP teams, and then she was just gone. So yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what we do. And anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I wish you a great day. I will see us in the next one. Also subscribe to the channel, by the way. I forgot that again. Bloody hell.